The room is quiet now, too quiet, and somehow, out of all the videos you could have clicked tonight, you found this one. That was not an accident. Before you sleep, give me 60 seconds and listen carefully, because the thoughts in your head right now are louder than the world around you. The overthinking, the exhaustion, the pressure to keep pretending you were okay. You smile during the day. You answer messages. You say, "I'm fine." But deep down, you've been carrying something heavy for a very long time, and nobody fully sees it. Not the silent panic in your chest. Not the nights you stare at the ceiling, replaying every mistake. Not the way your heart sinks every time you think about your future. Not the exhaustion of trying so hard, while secretly feeling completely lost. But I saw it. I saw the tears you wiped away quickly because you didn't want anyone asking questions. I saw you sitting in that parked car a little longer because going inside felt emotionally impossible. I saw the nights you begged for a sign, for direction, for clarity, for something, anything, because lately it feels like your life has become one long hallway with no doors opening. You keep moving, but you don't know where you're going anymore. And what hurts the most is that you used to feel hopeful. You used to believe things would work out. Now you're just trying to survive the next day without breaking down. And the scary part is people around you have no idea how close you've come to giving up internally. You've become skilled at hiding pain, skilled at functioning while emotionally drowning, skilled at carrying invisible weight. But my child, you were never meant to carry all of this alone. You keep asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why does everyone else seem ahead of me? Why do I feel stuck? Why can't I hear God anymore? But listen to me carefully tonight. Silence does not mean abandonment. Just because heaven feels quiet does not mean I left you. I was there in every exhausted breath, every anxious night, every moment you almost quit. I was there when your faith became tired. I was there when your prayers became tears instead of words. I was there when you sat in darkness, wondering if your life would ever change. And even now, while you feel directionless, I am still guiding you, even when you cannot see the road ahead. Because sometimes the hardest seasons of your life are not punishment. They are preparation. I know you don't understand this season yet. I know it feels unfair. You compare your life to other people and wonder why yours feels delayed, why your doors closed, why your plans collapsed, why relationships disappeared, why opportunities slipped through your hands. But what if I protected you by allowing certain things to fall apart? What if the closed door was mercy? What if the delay was protection? What if the confusion you feel right now is only temporary fog before clarity? You think your story is falling apart, but I need you to understand something tonight. A seed buried underground looks ruined before it begins to grow. And you have been growing in hidden places. I know you feel forgotten, but hidden is not forgotten. You feel behind, but delayed is not denied. You feel weak, but exhausted people can still carry purpose. Do not confuse fatigue with failure. You've been fighting battles nobody claps for. Battles inside your own mind. Battles against hopelessness, against fear, against self-doubt, against the voice telling you that your life will never become anything meaningful. And some nights, that voice gets loud, especially after midnight, especially when the world gets quiet and your thoughts finally catch up to you. That's when the memories return, the regrets, the disappointments, the moments you wish you could erase. You replay conversations, you replay failures, you replay all the ways life did not turn out the way you hoped, and slowly you started believing the lie that maybe you were the problem. Maybe you're too broken, too late, too damaged, too lost. But listen to me very carefully. You are not too far gone. You are not forgotten. And you are not disqualified because you became tired. Even now, there is still purpose attached to your life. Even now, there is still light ahead of you. Even now, I am working in places you cannot see. You keep asking me for a map, but I'm asking you for trust. Because if I showed you everything right now, it would overwhelm you. So instead, I guide you one step at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time. And I know you're tired of hearing just keep going. Because you already have been. You've kept going while grieving us silently. You've kept going while financially stressed. You've kept going while emotionally empty. You've kept going while feeling invisible. You've kept going while your heart quietly begged for rest. And honestly, there were moments when you didn't even want to wake up to another difficult day. Not because you wanted your life to end, but because you wanted the pain to stop. You wanted peace. You wanted clarity. You wanted to feel safe again. You wanted to feel like your life mattered. And tonight, I need you to hear this deeply. Your existence matters more than you realize. The enemy has spent a long time trying to convince you otherwise, trying to make you feel small, replaceable, unworthy, unlovable. The battle over your life has always been deeper than you understood, because there is something valuable by inside you, something the darkness hoped you would never discover. Your sensitivity, your heart, your compassion, your resilience, your ability to survive things that should have destroyed you. You call yourself weak because you cry easily. But heaven calls you strong because you kept loving even after being hurt. You kept showing up, even wounded, even confused, even exhausted. And do you know how many times you almost broke completely but didn't? That wasn't luck. I carried you. There were nights you thought you were alone in your room, but I sat with you in the silence. There were moments you thought nobody understood your pain, but I understood every unspoken word, even the ones you could not explain, especially those, because sometimes your soul becomes too tired for language. Sometimes pain sits so deep inside your chest that all you can do is stare blankly at the wall and try not to cry again. And still, I stayed. I did not leave because your faith weakened. I did not walk away because you became frustrated. I did not abandon you because you doubted. I know the real you beneath the exhaustion. I know how much you've been carrying, and I know how desperately you need direction right now. You keep saying, God, what am I supposed to do with my life? Where am I even going? Why do I feel so lost? But what if being lost is the very thing teaching you how to depend on me again? Because somewhere along the way, you became disconnected from your own soul. You started surviving instead of living, performing instead of healing, existing instead of dreaming. And little by little, the noise of life drowned out your inner peace. The pressure, the bills, the disappointments, the expectations, the heartbreak, the constant fear of failing. It all piled on top of you until you forgot who you were underneath the survival mode. But I remember the version of you before fear convinced you to shrink, before rejection made you question your worth, before betrayal made you afraid to trust again, before disappointment made you stop dreaming. And I need you to hear this tonight. You are not finished. Your story is not over. This season is not your final chapter. I know it feels endless. I know the waiting has exhausted you. But something is shifting even now, quietly, slowly, beneath the surface. The breakthrough you've been praying for is already moving toward you in ways you cannot yet see. Not everything happening is against you. Some things are finally aligning for you. Some doors had to close so the right ones could open. Some people had to leave because they were connected to a version of you that could not enter your next season. And yes, that hurt. You mourned people who stopped choosing you. You mourned friendships that faded. You mourned love that did not stay. You mourned versions of your life that never happened. But my child, do not build your identity around who walked away. People leaving your life does not mean you are unworthy of love. Sometimes people leave because they cannot accompany you where you are going. And where you are going requires healing, requires growth, requires rediscovering your voice again. You've spent too long apologizing for your existence, too long doubting your value, too long believing you had to earn love by exhausting yourself for others. But you do not have to prove your worth to deserve care. You do not have to perform for me. You do not have to hide your brokenness from me. Bring me the exhausted version of you, the anxious version, the confused version, the version that cries in secret, the version that feels emotionally numb. Bring me all of it, because healing does not begin when you become perfect. Healing begins when you stop pretending you are okay. And tonight, you don't have to pretend anymore. I know your heart is tired. I know you're afraid the future won't get better. I know part of you worries that this sadness will last forever. But feelings are not prophecies. This pain is not permanent. You are moving through a chapter, not living in your ending. One day, you will look back at this season differently. One day, the nights that almost broke you will become proof that you survived. One day, the confusion will make sense. One day, your tears will water the very life you are praying for now. But for tonight, I just need you to breathe, slow down, release the pressure for a moment. You do not need to solve your entire future before sunrise. You do not need to carry tomorrow tonight. Rest, even if only for a few moments. Rest your mind, rest your heart, rest the part of you that has been fighting silently for so long. You've carried survival mode like armor, but armor becomes heavy when you never take it off. And I know you're tired, so tired, tired of being strong, tired of starting over, tired of uncertainty, tired of feeling emotionally alone, even around other people, tired of watching everyone else seem happy while you secretly struggle to hold yourself together. But hear me clearly. You are not failing because life feels hard right now. You are human, and humans get tired. Humans break down. Humans need comfort, and there is no shame in needing comfort tonight. No shame in needing reassurance. No shame in needing hope again. That does not make you weak. It makes you honest, and honesty is where healing begins. I know there are nights you scroll endlessly, trying to escape your thoughts. Nights you distract yourself because silence feels dangerous. Because when silence comes, so do the questions. What if nothing changes? What if I never find my purpose? What if I stay stuck forever? But fear has a way of speaking in absolutes. I do not. I speak in hope, in possibility, in restoration. And I am telling you now, your future has not been canceled. There is still beauty waiting for you, still peace waiting for you, still love waiting for you, still opportunities you cannot yet imagine, still people who will understand your heart, still moments that will make you grateful. You did not give up tonight. I know you feel behind in life, but life is not a race the way the world taught you. Some people bloom early, some bloom later, but late blooming is still blooming. Do not despise your timeline. You are becoming something deeper than you realize. The world celebrates speed, but I often work slowly, quietly, internally. I rebuild people from the inside out, and that takes time. Especially after everything you've survived. You've been through disappointments that changed you, words that wounded you, rejections that haunted you, moments that made you question your value. And maybe nobody ever apologized properly for the pain they caused you. Maybe you carried wounds people never acknowledged. Maybe you learned to suffer silently because explaining your pain felt pointless. But I saw every invisible scar, and I am not ashamed of your broken places. I know exactly where your heart hurts. The hidden insecurities, the fear of not being enough, the fear of ending up alone, the fear that your best days already passed, the fear that you missed your chance. But your life is not over, not even close. You are standing in the middle of a chapter you do not yet understand, and chapters feel confusing when you read them before the story is finished. That's why you must stop judging your entire future based on this current pain. Storms distort vision. Exhaustion distorts perspective. Loneliness distorts identity. But distortion is not truth. The truth is this: you are deeply loved, even now. even anxious, even uncertain, even after all the mistakes you replay in your head. I still call you worthy. I still call you mine. And I still see purpose in your life. There are gifts inside you that pain could not destroy. There is kindness inside you this world desperately needs. There is wisdom being formed through your suffering. There is compassion growing through your wounds. One day people will heal because you survived this season. One day your story will help someone else stay alive. One day the comfort you receive tonight will become comfort you give to others. Nothing you endured will be wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the heartbreak, not the confusion, not even this lonely night, especially not this lonely night. Because sometimes the nights that feel emptiest become the nights heaven speaks the loudest. And maybe that's why you're here right now. Maybe your soul was searching for this reminder that you are still seen, still guided, still protected, still loved, and yes, still chosen. Not because you are perfect, but because purpose was placed inside you long before pain tried to bury it. You have survived too much to quit now. Think about everything you already made it through. The breakdowns, the grief, the disappointments, the silent battles nobody knew about. There were moments you genuinely thought you wouldn't recover emotionally. Yet here you are, still breathing, still hoping somewhere deep inside. Even if hope feels small tonight, a tiny flame still burns in you, and I will protect that flame. I will breathe life back into the exhausted places inside your soul. I will restore what fear tried to steal from you. I will guide you one step at a time. You do not need all the answers tonight. You only need enough faith for the next step. That's all. And if your faith feels weak, borrow mine for a moment. Let me carry what you cannot carry tonight. Let me quiet the chaos in your mind. Let me remind you that your future is bigger than this current pain. You are not trapped forever. This sadness is not your identity. This confusion is not your destiny. There is more ahead. More peace, more clarity, more healing, more joy, more life. I know it's hard to believe sometimes, especially after repeated disappointment, especially when prayers seemed unanswered, especially when doors stayed. But closed doors are not always rejection. Sometimes they are redirection. Sometimes I block what would have broken you later. Sometimes I remove what you begged to keep because I can see what you cannot. And one day, you will understand why certain things did not work out. One day, you will thank me for the delays. One day, you will see that what felt like abandonment was actually protection. But until then, trust me in the dark. Trust me when you cannot trace the path. Trust me when your emotions become loud. Trust me when your mind tells you to give up. Because the enemy wants your exhaustion to convince you that nothing will ever change. But change is already beginning. Inside you, the fact that you are still searching for hope after everything you endured means something sacred still lives within you. And that matters more than you know. Tonight, before you sleep, Release the pressure to have everything figured out. You are allowed to be in progress. You are allowed to heal slowly. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to not have all the answers yet. Your worth is not measured by how quickly you succeed. Your value is not determined by your productivity. And your future is not ruined because your journey looks different than someone else's. I need you to stop speaking to yourself like you are a disappointment. You have survived incredibly difficult seasons. Be gentler with yourself. The version of you that kept going despite the pain deserves compassion too. And I know you've blamed yourself for things that were never fully your fault. You carry guilt for not being stronger, for not healing faster, for making mistakes, for trusting the wrong people, for feeling emotionally overwhelmed. But listen carefully. You are learning, growing, healing, transforming. Do not hate yourself for being human. I never asked you to become emotionless. I asked you to stay connected to me. And tonight, you are right here, listening, still reaching for hope, still searching for light. That matters more than you realize. The world may not see your internal battles, but heaven does. And heaven is proud of how hard you fought to stay alive emotionally. Even on the days you barely got out of bed. Even on the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Even during moments when your faith was hanging by a thread, you kept going. And that courage matters. You think courage looks loud, but sometimes courage looks like surviving another difficult day without giving up. Sometimes courage looks like silent endurance. Sometimes courage looks like whispering one exhausted prayer before sleep. And tonight, that prayer reached me. So rest now, not with fear, not with panic. Not with the belief that your life is hopeless. Rest knowing you are still held, still guided, still loved. The road ahead may not be fully visible yet, but you are not walking it alone. I will send clarity. I will send strength. I will send peace at the right time. And when the moment comes, the direction you've been praying for will become clearer than you imagined. Until then, stop calling yourself lost. A person walking through fog is not lost. They simply cannot see far ahead yet, and fog eventually lifts. This season will too. The heaviness will not last forever. The confusion will not last forever. The loneliness will not last forever. Healing is already beginning inside you, quietly, gently, like sunlight slowly entering a dark room. So tonight, put your hand over your heart for a moment. Feel that? You survived another day. After everything, you survived. And that means your story is still unfolding. Your purpose is still alive. Your future is still waiting for you. Do not give up before the miracle arrives. Do not walk away before the breakthrough comes. Do not let temporary pain convince you of permanent hopelessness. Because I am already making a way where you cannot yet see one. And someday, you will realize this night was not random. This message was not random. You were being reminded that heaven never stopped watching over you. never stopped loving you, never stopped guiding you, even in silence, especially in silence. Now close your eyes, release the weight in your chest. You do not have to carry everything tonight. I'm still here, and I'm not leaving.